We're following more breaking news. A driver is dead tonight following this horrific crash along the Mass Ave connector in Boston. That car burst through a barrier and then plummeted more than 40 feet below, erupting into flames. That crash led to major backups along the roadways.
Yeah, let's give you an idea about what we're talking about here. The wreck happened on 93 North near Front Gate Road. Boston 25 News reporter Jim Morelli live in Boston. And Jim, really lucky here, no one else was hurt.
It's absolutely amazing that nobody else was hurt, because this is the road right here, the exit ramp, on-ramp, where this vehicle actually landed. A couple of tons of metal falling here, and miraculously no vehicles were going through at the time. And we've watched as many vehicles have gone through, so it's not as though it's a not busy ramp. That is where the car fell from, the vehicle, the SUV. Mass DOT workers putting up a temporary chain link fence to cover that huge hole. Now, what investigators have to figure out is, how did this vehicle catch on fire and why before it went over the edge? Because apparently it was on fire, according to witnesses, and also why it was able to leap over the concrete barrier, looked like it didn't touch it, and go right through that fence.
I thought it was just a crash, maybe on the bridge or something.
It was instead a crash through the bridge, the vehicle somehow plunging off Frontage Road on the northbound expressway to a highway on-ramp some 40 feet below.
And the person inside did not survive.
Boston Fire Commissioner Paul Burke says witnesses report the vehicle was on fire before it left the roadway.
Fire chief saw it from a distance, the smoke. He thought the volume of smoke was a building fire, and it was not. It was a vehicle.
That vehicle, an SUV, landed close to an industrial area of Boston known as Wydett Circle.
Once it's cleared up a little bit and we seen that the railings were bent, then we could put two and two together, and we're like, oh, it's on fire and a car must have fallen.
The accident added more pressure to the usual rush hour traffic. And because the vehicle fell near an active rail spur, train service was briefly interrupted, but returned to normal by Wednesday afternoon.
And my condolences to anybody who got hurt or lost their lives.
The life lost here Wednesday morning has not been identified.
We're here to put out the fire and rescue the victim.
But Burke says the fire was so intense, they're not even sure if that victim was a man or a woman. And Wydett Circle is a place where there are lots of warehouses, empty lots, railroad tracks. Coming up at 6, why that might have presented a problem if this fire got out of control. Live in Boston, Jim Morelli for your local station, Boston 25 News.